What is going on, guys? DragonTamerBlayde here, back with some more Elder Scrolls Legends, and today I am honored, happy, excited to hop on the Houses of Morrowind reveal train with the card that I have been provided, and let's not even waste any time. Let's just bring it right up on the screen. Okay, should be up for you guys now. It is the Morag, Tong, Aspirant. As you can see, it's a legendary 1-drop. It's a 1-cost 2/1 with the ability Slay, summon a copy of Morag, Tong, Aspirant. So as a guy who loves Slay Scout, I am super excited to play this card. Obviously, with the 1 health, it's a little bit difficult to get the Slay effect off, but there has to be some kind of trade-off with a 1-drop card. So the obvious first thing to think about when you see this card, besides your opponent playing 0-attack creatures, which you can't really count on, is the bread and butter of Slay Scout, which is Night Mother. So it summons a 0/1 token. Obviously, if you kill the token with the Morag, Tong, Aspirant, you get a free one. And so the first thing, obviously the most obvious combo, was playing Night Mother with Brotherhood Sanctuary. So you can get 2 copies, 3 copies, up to 4 copies of an Aspirant just for 1 Slay with a Night Mother, which is obviously pretty bonkers. This is another card that I think is going to work very well with some of the new mechanics that we've received with the expansion. Besides the fact that Slay Scout also will have access to agility, intelligence, so you can work for some buffs or wards inside of here. So you could play things like Lesser Ward, Ward Crafter, stuff like that on the Morag, Tong, Aspirant to make it be able to trade more easily, especially if you play turn 1, your opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play or even rings out a 2-drop. There's a chance that with 2 attack you can trade into a lot of 2-drops. So if you get a ward, you have a chance to get a proc right off the bat. But even in more traditional Scout colors, we've got things like Healing Hands, which, I mean, super conditional card, but Enchanted Plate, so a turn 2 draw plus enable you to survive a swing would be pretty huge. The other thing that's interesting, and I guess it will remain to be seen, but a lot of Slay effects, you don't need to remain alive for it to trigger, which I'm going to be curious to see how that interaction would work. So if Morag, Tong, Aspirant trades into something and kills it, does the Slay effect still go off? Because there's Slay effects that go both ways. But I would assume that it would work, and that it would trade in successfully, and you'd get a copy, which would be pretty huge. You could see Bruma Armor making a little bit of a comeback, especially with that card that was revealed the other day, the Falling Sorcerer, Falling Mage. I forget the exact name, but it was a 2-cost 5/5 that deals 5 damage to itself. So Bruma Armor could make a comeback, especially because, again, the house colors are blue, green, and purple, so there are some potential there. I don't think this is something you'd really be using Galen on, but I guess potentially. But basically, the overall point I'm making is there's a lot of ways to buff your health in Endurance, which would make this go from a decent enough 1-drop. And remember, for playing 75 card decks, you're going to have to play more early game cards to try and make your curve a little bit more smooth. You can't just play the traditional 2-drops that were useful, and obviously we have 149 cards coming, so there may be a bunch more solid early game cards coming. But you're going to have to play more cards than you're traditionally used to playing in the first couple turns, so I could see this being a card that you want to put in your slightly more aggressive or even mid-range builds when you're running a 75 card deck. So besides the rally mechanic that buffs cards in your hands, and your obvious purple health boofers, wow, health boosters, inside of agility, you also have curses, drain vitality, shear points, stuff like that. Ways to lower your opponent's attack to the point where if you can take a creature with 1 or 2 attack and bring it down to 0 attack, then your trade becomes much more even. I just think these are going to be the perfect colors for this card to exist in. Besides all of the obvious Slay synergies, you can kind of build one big Aspirant with like Lucian the Chance and stuff like that, and kind of continuously just start churning out copies, which is very snowbally, which I think this is the kind of thing that Slay Scout's been needing, is something to kind of guarantee board presence in the earlier game. So you have ways to reduce attack in agility, ways to buff your own health in endurance, and then you have ways to protect yourself with ward and stuff like that inside of intelligence. So I think there's honestly the perfect colors to kind of try and make this combination exist. And that's not even counting all of the cards that have yet to be revealed so far. And I'm sure as we get more rally cards and just more cards in general, this will be a pretty excellent card to see. I could also see it in if we're not considering houses at the moment and not considering a traditional Slay Scout list, I could see it in a more aggressive archer build if you slap like an improvised weapon on it. Or like we mentioned with Jube the other day, or Jeb, Steel Scimitar turn 2 or even turn 1 with the ring would be pretty bonkers on this card. You end up with pretty solid board presence on turn 2 if you can get any trades. I don't think it's quite as good in Archer as it would be in Scout or even Assassin, but that's just what I'm thinking. Also would be very solid in a Monk deck or one of the houses, including Willpower. Just because you got Clerics of Kine, you got Calms, Cloudrest Illusionist, Divine Fervor is excellent with this card just to give that extra health that you need if you want to try and survive while trading. But like I said, I'm pretty sure the effect will still proc even if you die while trading, so I think it's going to be pretty solid from that front. Yeah, there's just a bunch of other ways to make your cards more resilient inside of Willpower as well. Not quite as powerful as Endurance in that health buffing regard, but there's a lot of token things and like token buffers, Divine Fervor, the Resolute Ally, Cleric of Kine, stuff like that. There's a solid amount, just not quite as much as Endurance. So, but I think it still would serve as a pretty decent early drop in these decks. Honestly, I think you could consider running this card in a mid-range deck of most colors or an aggressive deck of most colors. But I think the card gets even better when you bump it up to one of the houses where you're required to play 75 cards and you kind of need more cards to fill out your curve. I think this card shines even more in that regard. But yeah, I don't want to kind of keep you guys here forever. I know you're mostly just here to see the card. But let me know what kind of combos, Assassin's Ritual again, another great combination here. Let me know what kind of combos you guys are excited to use the card for, or if there's any obvious combos that I missed. Obviously, Slay Scout is what I want to get this card into first, but I'm sure there's many more things than meets the eye. Thieves' Den would work as well once you get a Pilfer off. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I'm not thinking of. So let me know what you guys think of the card, if you guys are going to be playing it, how you guys are going to be using it. Let me know. I'm super excited about it. I love this card. Going to be probably crafting some copies day one if I don't pull them to try and fit this into my reworked Slay Scout, because I'm super excited to see it. But yeah, that's going to be it for now, guys. As always, thank you all very, very much for watching. I'm DragonTamerBlayde, and I'll see you guys next time.